Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm Di, and today I'm sharing with you my diary entry for the week of June 23rd through 29th. Today is Saturday, June 29th. It is hot. I'm not very happy right now. I did get a lot of reading done this week though, so I have a lot to talk to you about. I do have a Yarnie update for you. I worked on one work in progress. I do have a new cast on, and then we'll do some TV chat at the end. So let's get into it. So I was trying to complete some of my outstanding blocks for the LGBT plus manga readathon that's being hosted by my friend Bizarre Individual and Tober 2000 on Instagram. And so I just had a few left, and I thought, you know what, I'm just going to pull from my collection and see if I can get those blocks done. And so the first thing I read for the week was Stalking, the Deluxe Edition, Volume 1, story and art by Koogi. This one is published by 7 Seas, rated mature. And then I also read Volume 2. So this is a story about our character here. His name is Yunbum. And he becomes infatuated with this guy who is Sangwoo. This is a full color manhwa. And so anyway, Yunbum decides that he is going to break into Sangwoo's house and just snoop around and find out more about him and things. And he ends up realizing that Sangwoo isn't who he thought. And I think you can probably tell what's going on just based on what's going on here on the cover. Yeah, this guy Sangwoo he's definitely violent, and he ends up taking Yunbum hostage. And so the story kind of follows what goes on in their day-to-day lives, and it's very graphic. It's rated mature for a reason, not only for sexual content, but for violence. There are graphic, violent things that happen on page. I will tell you that Yunbum does get abused physically. And even though he knows now how Sangwoo is, he still harbors romantic feelings for him and sexual desire for him. I have an issue with this story. If this story was only 3 omnibus long, since I already read the first 2, I would think, okay, I just need to read the third. I kind of feel like this story already, with the 2 volumes that I read, was drawing out too long. And I am not the type of person that wants to read on-screen violence or on-page violence for entertainment. That's just not for me, and this story is full of violence and abuse, and there's other things that happen, not only to Yunbum, but to other people that we get introduced to in this story, and it was just not entertaining. It was a hard read because of the things that come up during the story. You find out about Yunbum and his past. You find out about things that had happened to him, that he has a history of being abused in his past, and now he's gotten himself into a situation where he's getting abused again. But then there's part of him that's like, oh my gosh, I gotta get away from this guy, but there's another part of him that's like, oh, I'm so attracted to him, and I just can't comprehend that. And so this was not enjoyable. It was not enjoyable. I had 2 volumes of this, and so I decided to go ahead and read the 2 volumes. I will not be continuing. I found out that there are 8 of these to complete the story, and to me that is just way too long for this type of story. I can't. This was not enjoyable. It wasn't even entertaining. It was very hard to read. I had a lot of issues with the things that were happening, and Yeah, so I gave it 2.5 stars. It's full color. It did like move real quick because there's a lot of stuff that happens, but no, this is not for me. And so I will not be continuing with that series. Both of those got 2.5 stars. So after that, I needed a pick-me-up. Bad. And so I went to one of my rereads of the year. That was 7 days, Monday through Sunday. This is a story by Venio Tachibana and art by Rihito Takarai. This one is published by Sublime and rated teen. So this is a story about a guy who he's in like his last year of high school. He's on the archery team, and he just can't seem to have long-standing relationships with women. Like, he's like gorgeous, all the girls love his looks, and so he constantly, like, you know, gets asked out and he agrees to go out with them, but in the end they always tell him, you're not what I thought you'd be like. And so he's kind of like, you know, just gotten broken up with again, and he's just kind of going through his days, and he doesn't know what the deal is. And there's another guy at the school who is a freshman, and he is also on the archery team, and he has a history of having 1 week relationships. And so, like, the entire school knows about it, and so every Monday the first person to ask him out becomes his girlfriend for the week. The two kind of know each other, and while I can't even remember their names, how bad is that, right? Yuzuru is the older guy, Serio is the younger guy. So anyway, Yuzuru is waiting around for a lunchtime delivery, and Serio ends up coming to school late, and they just end up like having a chat, and he just so nonchalantly asks Serio, hey, has anybody asked you out yet this week? And Serio's like, no, and Yuzuru is just like, well, why don't you go out with me? Just on like not even thinking, he just says it. And so thus begins their 1 week relationship. And I really, really enjoy the story. I've read it 3 times now. It's a 5-star read for me. The story is very, very cute. It's a very clean romance. And with this story, there is just something about watching these characters go through the week, knowing that their time together is running out, and it just pulls at my heartstrings. I love this story so much. Definitely a 5-star read again for me, and will probably be one that I reread every year, especially during the LGBT plus manga readathon, or during Pride Month. Such a great story, and I really, really enjoyed it. So that definitely gave me the pick-me-up that I needed after reading the hard stuff that happened in Killing Stalking. So really, really good. If you haven't read this yet, I definitely recommend that you do so. Then here's a spoiler from my June manga haul. I picked up There Are Things I Can't Tell You by Edako Mofumofu. This one is published by Tokyo Pop, rated mature. So this one was a title that was advertised at the back of every single volume that I read from Hoopla that I borrowed for the Readathon this month. But the library doesn't have a copy of this, and so I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna buy it. I'm seeing it in the back pages of every single volume I'm reading. It sounds interesting. Let me just give it a go. I did not expect this volume to be this big. But I had to order it from my Barnes & Noble, and it came in, and I was very, very surprised. But this is a story about our two characters here. They're childhood friends, and they've kind of, you know, gone in and out of each other's lives as they've grown up. Our character here, his name is Kyosuke, and he realized at a young age that he liked guys, and he had this thing in his head that was something bad, and he thought that if he had gotten close to other guys that it would kind of like infect them. And so he knows that he has feelings for our friend here, who's Kasumi. And it's kind of why they kind of split and come together and split and come together over the years. And it's because Kyosuke just doesn't want to get so close to him that it could ruin things for Kasumi. I guess that's how I'm going to put it. And so it's kind of a story about them now in their adult years. They're brought together again. They're hanging out again. And feelings are definitely more intense now. And so, yeah, it was a cute story. I enjoyed it. There was a miscommunication trope for sure. And you know how much I don't like those. But I did enjoy seeing them work things out. Watching their relationship from when they're kids to when they're adults definitely gives that like full story feel. And it was an enjoyable story. I really, really enjoyed it. And I'm glad that I did pick this one up. So this was actually one of those Tokyo Pop titles that did me good. And so I will be keeping this one. And I'm glad that it was advertised to me in the back of all of those volumes that I read the very first week of this readathon. And I really enjoyed it. So 4 stars. Definitely enjoyed that one. Then I did another reread, Would You Like to Be a Family? Published by Tokyo Pop, rated mature by Koyama. So this is mostly a story about our characters here on the cover. So we've got these 3 characters. The 2 adult characters are co-workers at a company, and our dark-haired character, his name is Takemura, kind of avoids his co-workers because he's gay and he's been bullied about it, and just people just aren't nice to him when they find that out. So he decides that it's better to just live a solitary life and not hang out. And then you've got this guy who's Natsui, and he's like this really jovial guy, kind of life of the party type personality. One day they end up bumping into each other at a grocery store when they're doing their grocery shopping for the night, and Natsui has his son, this guy here, with him. And they're like, oh, if you don't have any plans for dinner, why don't you come over? And so he agrees, and it kind of starts this tradition of them sitting down to meals with each other, and eventually the 2 guys end up falling in love with each other. It's a really, really cute story. Like I said, for the most part, this volume is a story about the characters here on the cover, but there are a couple of short stories featuring other characters not related to this story in between. So you kind of have our couple story from the beginning to a certain point, and then at the end there's more story with this couple, and then in between there are short stories about other people. And so I quite enjoyed this volume. I especially like the story about this family here, and I like how it was presented, and you can kind of see the other people on the back here. There's this story about these college kids, and then there's a college kid and a high school kid here. Really, really cute story, really enjoyable story. I quite enjoyed this volume again on reread, and I gave this one 4.5 stars. Then I picked up volume 3 of 10 Count. This is also a spoiler for my June manga haul. This is a series that I kind of read one volume every Pride month, and so now I'm on volume 3. This is a story about our character here on the cover, and his name is, I think it's Shirotani. And he is a germaphobe, and he has OCD, and at the beginning of this story he's working as an assistant to like the president of a corporation, and something happens where his boss gets into an accident and needs to go to the hospital, and Shirotani ends up meeting Kurose, who kind of helps out with the situation, just getting the boss to the hospital and all of that. Ends up that Kurose is like a psychologist psychologist or a psychiatrist. He helps people work through mental issues, and he notices that Shirotani has some issues. And so he offers to help Shirotani get through some of his like OCD and things by like doing a 10-step program, not as a like professional, kind of like a friends type of thing. So he provides Shirotani with this 10-step program and kind of helps him go through all of the steps. And so, yeah, obviously they end up in some kind of relationship, right? I'm sure you can tell by the covers on this series. I think I'm at the halfway point now. I'm not quite sure that I'm enjoying this, because I don't know, I just can't let it settle within me, like what's going on now with Kurose and Shirotani. Like some of the things that are happening, I don't know that would be acceptable. Like I don't know how Shirotani's getting over some of the aversions that he has with what's going on currently where I'm at in this series. So yeah, I don't know, but at this point I'm like, I'm halfway there, I might as well finish the thing. and if I only read one volume every year, it's gonna take me another 3 years if this is a 6-volume series. I'm not even sure if it's a 6-volume series. Did I say this was by Rihito Takarai and rated mature by published by Sublime? That's kind of why I was attracted to this series in the first place, was because the drawings was from Rihito Takarai, and you know, I just told you that 7 Days was also done by Rihito Takarai, the drawings, and so I really wanted to read more of their work, and that's kind of why I picked this series up in the first place. But I'm not sure that I'm enjoying it. I gave this one 3 stars. I'm still interested enough that I think I will finish it. Like I told you, I'm halfway done. There's nothing that's really bothering me about this series. I'm just not quite understanding how Shirotani's getting over certain things. And so, yeah, it's okay, 3 stars. So then I did another reread, Our Dining Table. This is by Mita Ori, published by 7 Seas, rated teen. So in this one, we follow this guy who is Yutaka. And he is somebody who likes to eat alone. He's kind of been told by people in his life, including coworkers, that he's not fun to eat with, because he's very quiet, he's very reserved, he doesn't make a lot of conversation, and so people don't find him entertaining to be around. And so he prefers to just eat on his own, and so he makes his own musubi. He goes to the convenience store and grabs a couple other things to bulk up his lunch, and then he goes and eats lunch alone at a local park. Well, one day he goes to the park and there's this little kid, this guy, his name is Tane, and he is like waiting for his older brother, and so Yutaka spends time with him so that he's not alone, and he also shares his musubi with him. And Tane is just like, oh my goodness, this is the best tasting musubi ever, you need to teach my brother how to make this. And so the brother comes by and they end up chatting, and Yutaka ends up going over to their house and teaching them how to make musubi. And thus starts a series of them sitting down and eating together. And it's just a very cute, very wholesome story. I really, really enjoy this one. It has a lot to do with food. There's a lot of food mentioned. The brother, Minoru, works at a ramen shop, and so you get to see some delicious ramen. And then you also see them, you know, making musubi and making other types of things for dinners, because they do end up, you know, having meals together quite often throughout this story. And it's just so touching, so wholesome. I really love this one, and obviously it's a 5-star read. So definitely recommend Our Dining Table, especially if you like stories that involve a lot of food. Our Dining Table. And then the last volume of manga that I read, I just finished this morning. That is volume 2 of Last Gender. This is When We Are Nameless by Taki. This one is published by Kodansha, rated 18+, so that is mature. So this one revolves around an establishment called Bar California, and is basically an establishment where the queer community can go and just be themselves. And so there's a lot of short stories about the customers that go to this bar. And it's not just a bar and it's an establishment where they can have sexual encounters and, you know, just chat with other people in the community and not have to worry about people looking at them weird or making snide comments or anything like that. Like, they're just accepted there. And so there, you meet a lot of the patrons. And so in this volume, one of the patrons learns about her sexuality. Another patron ends up going to the bar and talking about something that happened in his life to his partner. And then you get introduced to a couple of the people that provide things to the establishment, like as business transactions, so like merchandise, costumes, and things like that. And so I was a little bit confused in this volume because at the end of the first volume, something happens, like the very, very end. And I thought, oh, that's going to kick off another storyline that has to do with the like owner of the establishment, which is this person here. But that doesn't get continued here. So now I'm a little bit confused, unless like I forgot something and the character crossed over, which maybe I should have read the first volume again. But truthfully, there was only like one story that really stuck out to me in that volume. And because of the things that are happening within this story, it's really, really like difficult. I can't even say that it's like enjoyable to read. For me, the stories that happen here, I can like say are like learning experiences, I guess, because like, for example, in this one, there's a sexuality that's talked about that I had never heard of before. It's called lithromantic. And I'm like, I've never heard of that before. So it was really interesting to find out about that sexuality. But like the very first story in here is really, really sad. And then, you know, you've got stories about people being bullied and how they're treated like in society for how they are. And it's hard to read. So I can't say that this is enjoyable. I think this is only a 3-volume series. I did pick up the third one in my manga haul for this month. I may try to read that tonight and just finish out this series for in the month. So yeah, definitely some interesting stories in here, but I can't say that this is an enjoyable read. So that's everything that I read as far as the manga goes. I did also finish a novel this week. I finished Wolf at the Door, which is the first book in the Big Bad Wolf series by Charlie Adhara. This one is about an employee of the Bureau of Special Investigations who had actually moved from their previous department in the FBI to this new department in the FBI. And this department works like supernatural type cases. And something has happened where the trust, it's called the trust, it's basically a werewolf committee, has decided that some collaboration, it was time for some collaboration. So they're working this new program where a member of the trust gets paired up with a member of the Bureau of Special Investigations. And so our main character in this story is like the guinea pig. And so he is the first person to work a case with a trust member, and the case has to do with what looks like werewolf attacks. And so they head out and start investigating together, and both of our characters are gay men, and it definitely feels like Criminal Intentions, you know, that series that I read earlier this month by Cole McCade. Feels like Criminal Intentions, but with a supernatural twist, and the romance in this one definitely moves a lot faster. I quite enjoyed this one. It was interesting. I will say that the character from the Trust definitely feels a little bit like Song Jae from Criminal Intentions, but the other character is not anywhere near Malcolm. So there was a little bit of a familiarity in the feel of the story for me, and I think that also helped me to appreciate the story as well. Definitely a really interesting case. I think this is a 5-volume series, so it's also much shorter than Criminal Intentions, and I'm really looking forward to getting to the next one. It was really, really interesting. I really enjoyed watching our two characters get to know each other and start on some kind of a relationship journey. And I'm looking forward to seeing what happens in the next installment. So I ended up giving this one 4 stars. I will say that I listened to a good portion of this one, and the narrator is not very good. There are times where the narrator was almost boring. So I do think that if I had read this one as a majority and only listened to parts of it, my enjoyment probably would have been much better. But, you know, what can you do, right? So I may try to just read the next one, because my library does have electronic copies of it available on Hoopla. And so, yes, it was a good one. Definitely really enjoyed it. And if you like supernatural mysteries and investigative aspects, I would definitely recommend this series. So I had heard of this one from 365801. I think it was last year in one of their videos. They were talking about, I think it was one of their end year wrap up type videos or something like that. And I'm glad that my library now has it available for me to borrow. If you have an Audible Plus subscription, you can also borrow a copy of the audiobook on that program as well. So that is everything that I read this week. I am in the middle of one thing. Because I finished Wolf at the Door, I was kind of trying to decide whether or not I was going to read another LGBT book or start reading from the stack of things I put on the side for my July reading. I ended up deciding to go ahead and read one more LGBT plus book this month, and so I picked up Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. This one is a very, very popular male-male romance about a relationship that happens between the President of the United States' son and the Prince of England. I am about 5 chapters in. So far, very interesting. Our two characters don't really get along in the beginning. And so I thought that was interesting. And yeah, there's just some family dynamics that have been introduced in here that it just kind of makes it feel like, even though we're talking about like the President of the United States, that they're still like just a regular American family. And so that kind of grounds the story a bit. But I'm very, very early into this book, and so I'm excited to see what I think. There's also an adaptation that's available to watch, so provided that I enjoy this, I will probably watch the adaptation as well. And so, yeah, that is everything that I have for my reads. Let's get into another Yarnie update. Okay, 2 projects. So we'll start off with the one that you've seen before. This is my Gemini by Jane Richmond. It's a good thing that I have these tags now, because I can never remember who the patterns are by. It's my Gemini from Jane Richmond. Like I told you last week, the goal was to get to the sleeve separation. And so that is what has happened. So it looks like this now. So far, so good. Really, really enjoying it. It does, to me, look really big, but I think I just like am having a mental thing where I don't think I'm as big as I am. Because I keep looking at this, I'm like, wow, it's like really, really big. But then I hold it up to myself and I'm like, well, I guess it's not so big. So yeah, I'm just big. But I'm really, really liking this. It looks really good. And so yeah, it's just going to be a basic cream colored top. I did split for sleeves. I was a little bit concerned because the measurements that they give you when they tell you, okay, work the body until this much and then split for your sleeves, it seemed really, really long. It was like 10 and something inches. And for me, from like here to like my underarm area, it's only about 8 or 9 inches. And so I was like, I don't think I want to go to where the pattern says to go to, because if you look at these sleeves, they're also pretty large. And I didn't want the sleeve hole to be like under where, you know, my bra was showing. And so I thought, you know what, I'm just going to split right now, because I measured it and it was about 9 inches, and I'm like, I think that's good. I was holding it up to myself, and you know, even now when I'm holding it up to myself, it is a little bit lower than I would like, but I'm going to be wearing a tank top under this anyway because of how kind of see-through the knit stitch is, plus you know, it's cream colored, so yeah, it makes it much easier to see undergarments in this color. And so I'll be wearing a tank underneath anyway. But yeah, I think that was the right decision. Obviously, I can't try it on right now. I mean, I could if I put it on tubing, but it's just too much trouble for me. But I think this is a good like length for my armhole. And so I hope I don't regret it later. But it seems like it's a good length. It might be a little lower than I'd like, but it's definitely not too high. And for me, too high that's the worst of the two options. And so far so good. Now I'm at the point where I'm just going round and round in stockinette. So that is great. So again, Gemini by Jane Richmond. I'm doing this one in Knit Picks Cotton yarn, which is 70% Tangy cotton and 30% linen. These are 50-gram balls. And so I bought like 11 or 12 of these. And so I definitely have enough yarn. I will say that I think this yarn is like really drying out my hands though. The feel of it in the skein is very, very rough. But when I've knit it up, it feels much softer, and I think after I wash it, it should be a bit softer as well. But I have noticed that I am getting peeling on my fingers. So like, this is the finger that the yarn constantly goes over, and I've got a whole patch that is peeling off right now. And then in between here where I kind of hold the yarn, kind of tension it the way that I hold, it's also peeling. And yeah, so something is not agreeing with my skin, but I just need to make sure that I use lotion, I should say, before I start working with this yarn, because it is really doing a number on my fingers. And so yes, that is that. I think I also, because there's no like stretch in that yarn, it's kind of wreaking havoc on my hands, and I think I've injured my thumb, so that's not fun. But very happy with the progress here. So that is my Gemini. And then the new project, you know this bag. This is my Small World bag that my mom made me. And so in this bag is my niece's mini last unicorn. So I had said that if I got into the sleeve separation on my Gemini, I would work on my other niece's mini last unicorn. And it is so cute, you guys. Oh my goodness. So let me just get it all untangled, because the skein of yarn that I'm working on is a big ball of yarn barf right now, and it's not fun. But oh my goodness, you guys, look at this. It is so cute. And I love this color. To me, this is the better color combination. It just looks so much better. And I don't know, man. The rainbow section on this one just looks so much better also. And I was comparing it to the other sweater that I made for my other niece. And the rainbow section is much shorter and much tighter. And if you remember, I had a conversation with you about working projects when I'm stressed and when I'm not stressed. And I definitely cast hers on when I was stressed. And this one, I'm not as stressed. You can definitely see a difference in both sweaters. So, yeah. This one, though, I am doing in a different, like, main yarn brand. So I'm still continuing with the deconstructed mandala cake here. I did find out that the colorway on the mandala cake that I deconstructed was called Gnome. And so basically I just took apart the mandala cake and I cut every time the color changed. So there's more colors than this because you get the in-between colors as well. But these are pretty much the same colors I used for my other niece's sweater, except for the green. I used a different green on this one. I will say that I made another modification on this because I did not have enough of the turquoise color in the mandala. It is slightly a different color than the color that I am using for the sweater. And because I wanted to maintain the same yarns as her sister's sweater, I went ahead and used the mandala, but I didn't have enough to do the 3 rows here. So I only did 2 rows. And then this was also supposed to be 3 rows, but I thought it was going to be like kind of weird because now I've got 2, 2, 3, 3, and now 2, 2. It should be 3, 3, 3, 3, but I thought, you know what, I'm just going to leave it as it is and we'll see. So I started working the chart, and then I thought if I needed extra length before the sleeve separation, I'd just add it after the chart. So it ends up that I did need 1 extra row after the chart, and so I measured, needed the 1 extra row, and now it matches the recommended depth of yoke. So I did split for sleeves, and I just did like 1 row, and that's all I've got on this so far. So now I am again round and round and round, which is great because it's easy, right? It's easy knitting, but it doesn't give me a lot of intrigue, I guess. So like these projects are going to be great to work on during the Olympics, which we're watching the Olympic trials right now. This will kind of bleed into TV watching. So it's been really kind of nice to like have projects that you can just go round and round and round. But I feel like I need something that'll give me a little bit of intrigue. So I'm thinking of casting on something else, which kind of defeats the purpose of me trying to like, you know, work on whips. But all of the socks that I have on the go right now are like straight stocking net. I think I might have one that I can work on, but that's not going to take a lot of time because it's a sock. But I have a love note that I need to finish, and I'm on the stockinette in the round again. I have the sleeves on my Mostly Go sleeve that I need to finish, and it's stockinette in the round. And I'm just like, I need something that's not stockinette in the round. So, I don't know. I need to think about this some more. You may see another cast on next week, but I need something with a little bit more intrigue. Like, this was great because, you know, I had the color work and the increases and all of that. But now I'm just like, okay, it's round and round and round and round. So, yeah. That being said, I did just get my shipment of Knit Picks yarn from the sale. So I may take a look at what I'm planning for those. But again, all of those projects are stuck in the round. So that's not too great. I just wanted some, like, you know, plain staple pieces to wear. And so that's kind of where my mind went when I was ordering stuff. And so, yeah. I have stash, so it's not like I can't find something to do. But I think I need something with a little bit more intrigue. So I'll definitely be looking. But I'm very, very happy with this. It's so cute. The main color is a Lion Brand Pound of Love in the turquoise color. I can't pull it out right now because, like I said, it is a ball of yarn barf. And so, yeah. But it's Lion Brand Pound of Love, the mandala cake in Gnome, and then the unicorns again I did in the fruit salad colorway from I Love This Yarn and Hobby Lobby. And so, yes. To me, this one is the much better version. I love how the colors are playing together on this one. And I don't think it's because I'm biased, because this is my favorite color. But, you know, that could always come into play. But this is just so cute. I am doing the 6'8" size on this one. And then the length of arms and body I'm going to do on this one is going to be 13 inches, which is different from the pattern. But so cute. Can't wait to get a little bit more done on this one. I'm just absolutely loving this one. And the feel of this one also feels better. And I think that's just because it's Pound of Love yarn as opposed to the Vanna's Choice, which I made the other niece's one on. But it's just adorable. I can't get over this one. I'm very, very happy. And so, yeah, I will kind of pick up the bag and kind of show you what's going on in here. So you can kind of see right there that there is a big ball of yarn barf right there. And so I'm just kind of slowly working through it. Thankfully, it's not like a huge sweater that I'm having to like try to unknot and things like that. I just don't know what happened with that skein. It was a brand new skein, but for whatever reason, I don't know if it had been used before I bought it or what, but there was like a partial piece of crochet stuck into the skein. And I'm like, I don't think that was me. It's been quite a while since I've like crocheted anything. I mean, the last time I crocheted was in December, and I had done, I was working on a Christmas blanket then. Maybe I'll work on that, because I kind of stopped working on that. And see, just remember things. But yeah, so anyway, when I had pulled all the crochet out, it just kept like coming out of the ball like without any like pulling, and I was just like, what's going on? And so the middle completely like came out with the crochet, and I'm just like, it hasn't been too bad, but it's still a big mess. So I'm just kind of like trying to work through it. Eventually I'll get there, but I'm very, very happy with this one. So it's the Mini Last Unicorn Sweater by Meghan Regan of Bad Wolf Girl Studios. If you're interested in Disney type colorwork yoke sweaters, she has a few. She has the Voyager, which is the Moana inspired sweater. I have knit one of those. You might have seen me wearing it in a couple of the videos. She just released the Best Friends collection, which is your standard Mickey, Minnie, Donald, Goofy, and Daisy, I think, collection of graphs for for sweater making or any kind of color work type things. I think she also has a Beauty and the Beast one, if I'm not mistaken, but that one's in a book of patterns, like a Disney collective book of patterns. That's definitely one I've got my eye on. But anyway, there's a bunch of color work sweaters that she has designed that I have my eye on. I've been working on the Mostly Ghostly. She has an Astraeus that's like galactic kind of or stars or something. Just really, really interesting patterns. I quite enjoy her patterns. They're very easy to understand, and I just really, really enjoy working on her patterns. And so this is my fourth, I think, because I did the Mostly Ghostly, even though it's not done. I have the Voyager. I did my niece's Mini Last Unicorn, and then this is the second Mini Last Unicorn, so that'll be 4. So yes, quite enjoy that. Definitely check her out if you're into color work, the oak type patterns. And I think that's everything I have to talk to you about as far as the knitting goes. So let's get into really quick some TV watching. Like I said, we're watching the Olympic trials. That has been really, really fun and interesting. We're doing gymnastics now and can't wait to watch more of that. We did watch rowing the other night, which is always interesting. We finished Tracker on Paramount. That was interesting. I'm really, really excited to check out those books, or that book series, because I quite enjoyed the TV show. There was one episode where the main character's brother comes into town, and it was almost like watching an episode of Supernatural, which if you've watched Supernatural and you've watched that episode, I think you can figure out why I'm saying that, but it was quite entertaining. And so yeah, Tracker's done. But Criminal Minds Evolution's back, and so we've been watching that. And yeah, that's pretty much all we've been up to, other than trying to keep cool. It's been awfully hot. As far as July reading goes, my plan is to read adventure books. So that's going to be my theme for the month. There are a whole bunch of adventure books that I've been really interested in lately, and I've been hearing about. And I picked some up at the library book sale that I went to a couple months ago. And so July will be the month of adventure. So I'm really, really looking forward to it. I also, as per usual, will be picking up a shark type book during Shark Week. That's something that I've done for a few years now, and I really enjoy reading shark fiction during Shark Week. So I have a couple that I have in my possession that I will be thinking about which one I'd like to read during Shark Week. But yes, adventuring and sharks. That's kind of the theme for the month of July. So I'm really looking forward to it. Yeah, I'm really excited for some of the books that I have picked out. So let me know down in the comments below what you'll be doing for the month of July. Have you read any adventure novels? And if so, which ones were your favorite? Like I said, I definitely have a few on my plate already, but I'm always looking to add to my TBR. I think a lot of us are. And so, yeah, have you read any adventure books? If so, what are your favorites? Or have you read any shark fiction lately that you really enjoyed? I'd love some more recommendations for that as well, because I have read quite a bit up until this point already. I've read the entirety of the Meg series by Steve Alton. I've read a couple of Kindle Unlimited kind of indie author shark books. I've read the Shark Island, Shark Beach, Devil Sharks books. And I'm like really kind of looking for new shark books to read, or new to me shark books to read. So if you've got any recommendations for either adventure novels or shark fiction, and when I say adventure novels, I mean like along the lines of like an Indiana Jones kind of type adventure, where you've got like kind of a treasure hunter or, you know, relics and things like that. I think that's something that I could really get into. So if you've got any recommendations, let me know. And if nothing else, and you'd just like to let me know that you are here, if you could leave me a food emoji, any type of food emoji for our dining table, that would be greatly appreciated and would really help me out. And that will do it for me today. So I hope you're all doing great. I hope you're all safe and healthy. And until next time, take care and smile always. Bye.